Okay, so what we're doing here is the annual overview of like all the graphic novels and stuff that I own. So I'm just gonna point the camera at the window until I'm ready to move over to that. But yes, there's a we're about to move. So everything is just sort of thrown about my room. So don't mind that. First off, like you can see, I've started like taking like stuff off the walls. They were off the walls for a while though, but I've been sort of like taking stuff down and stacking them and sort of getting them ready for moving. Um, which is one of the reasons why I haven't been using my desk setup thing. Uh, but yeah, let's go. So this is what I put my camera on, by the way, when I film my desk. I have like this Lego contraption here, yeah, and I put it like on that, and then I point it at the at the approximate center of the desk. Anyway, those are all novels and stuff. So I guess we'll start off with like the light stuff. So I've got like a lot of comic related books that aren't comics. So I've got like stuff like Spider-Man Goblin Moon by Kirby Sayek. It's actually a really good book. I recommend it. It's a really good sort of both psychological and physical battle slash struggle between the Green Goblin and Spider-Man. I have a Fantastic Four, To Free Atlantis. I should probably have the light on. Hold on. I also have Fantastic Four Warzone. This is from 2005, I believe. This is from like 92 or 94 or something like that. This is from 92, I believe, this Spider-Man book. This takes place in the Negative Zone. I've yet to read these ones, but I've read this one, obviously, and it's very good. Next I have the Incredible Hulk novelization, or I guess Hulk novelization, by Peter David, who actually wrote the Hulk. And apparently this novelization is like quite a bit better than the film. So I'm excited to actually read this. I read the first chapter just after I bought it to just sort of get a feel for it, and I really like the writing thus far. So this is another one that I've yet to get to, but I have read the first chapter of. This is The Last Days of Krypton. It's about like you know, Superman's dad and stuff, Jor-El, in The Last Days of Krypton, like trying to warn him in like his life and science and sort of stuff. So that's interesting. Or maybe it's his grandfather, actually. Maybe it's his maybe it's his grandfather. It's either Jor-El or whatever the grandfather's name is. Zor-El, it says. It looks like. So yeah. Also it's got like a sort of wah effect, which is strangely kind of cool. I'm just gonna place that back in there real quick. Alright. Batman Nightfall and Beyond by Alan Grant. I've yet to read this, but I got it for super cheap. I like to pick up these comic-based novels. The Dragon and the Bat. I've yet to read that as well. A lot of these books are somewhat recent pickups, like within the summer and stuff, and I got like something like 30 or 40 books this summer, so I haven't read them all yet, obviously. The Riddler's Gambit, it's the next one. It's a prequel to Arkham Knight. It's really, really good, actually. It sort of switches perspective a lot, so you get like some bits from Riddler at the beginning and the end of the book, and then you'll get you know, Robin and Batman back and forth for a while. Justice League in Darkest Night. It's nothing too special about that, but it's a decent read. Yeah, that's not really, none of this is really comic booky. I mean, Star Wars and Star Trek have comic books and stuff, but nothing like based off a comic book. But yeah. let's see. So starting over on this side, as always, we have X-Men First Class, which is quite good, and we have Spider-Man Back in Black. The not the JMS stuff, but it's like sort of a collection. One of my figures fell over from above. I'll just fix that. Yeah. The Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus, my favorite book I own probably. We have Defenders Masterworks Volume 5. This is actually really good. I have to get more of these. I got this book for $5 at a flea market in Halifax, in Nova Scotia. And which is obviously a really great deal because it retails for like $85 Canadian. I got a bunch of books from him for like really cheap, and like that throughout all of them, that one averaged out to $5 from the lot. Sorry about the shaky cam. I've got The Amazing Spider-Man Election Day with his Obama stuff and whatever. It's a decent read. Iron Man Demon in a Bottle. This is by Michelini. This is from the 70s. Some of the stuff in here is like really weak sauce, and like that, you know, when you think of like Demon in the Bottle and stuff, you're like, oh yeah, you know, those issues where Tony Stark is actually an alcoholic and it's a problem. But that's only really like 2 issues out of the total. There's some really good stuff before that, but a lot of the stuff just does feel like filler because the first 2 issues completely center around him and Namor on this island. And the only thing that relates to Demon in the Bottle on that is like he has one too many drinks on the plane. Like he asked for an extra vodka or whatever he was drinking. And the flight attendant's like, well, you've already had a couple, maybe not, Stark. Next, I got these in a lot of 3 for $20 a piece. The first 3 hardcover editions of Justice League from the New 52. I've read this, and it's pretty good. I'm about halfway through this, and I've yet to read this, obviously. I have a general idea of what happens in all of them now. Throne of Atlantis is the one I'm most excited about. Next, New Krypton. Actually, these are in really good condition. They're like brand new when I bought them. Superman New Krypton by Jeff Johns. It's a decent read, but it's nothing special. Obviously, your obligatory, you know, Watchmen copy. I prefer to have Watchmen. Like I collect mostly in softcover, but I prefer to have stuff like Watchmen in hardcover. You know, I really like the art and stuff in Watchmen by Dave Gibbons. So Watchmen is like one of those classic books you have to have in hardcover. There aren't a lot of them, I would say. Like what are books you have to have in hardcover? Like Watchmen and not V for Vendetta, I guess, because most people have V for Vendetta in paperback. But stuff like Watchmen is nice to have in hardcover. I have Alan Moore writing for comics. I have the Valiant Era collection. It's just a bunch of Valiant stuff from the early peak of Valiant. I have Irredeemable Volume 1 by Mark Waid. It's a really good book. I'm excited to read the 2nd volume. It's by Boom Studios, or it's published by Boom Studios, I should say. This one I haven't read. I got this one for free. It's called Deep Sea, an original graphic novel. I had like a flip through it, but I don't really remember anything that I saw in it. But yeah, I'm excited to read some of the stuff that I've yet to get to. But that's not necessarily number 1 on my list. I'll get to that eventually, though. You know, everybody has the first volume of The Walking Dead, at least. I have the first 2. I don't really care for it past the first volume's excellent. The 2nd volume is just sort of a rehash of the first volume, but I feel like that's how the book generally is. I have the first 3 volumes of Saga. I plan to get the rest. Saga's really good. I really like Saga. It's like the first issue, you're not sort of like clear on whether you like it or not, because it's sort of like a weird. It's so different from everything else. But by the end of the first volume, you pretty much know if you're going to like it or not. And I did, so I got the first 3 volumes and I read them all, and I like them a lot. I've not read this one. This is Rat Queens. I got it on sale when my comic book shop was closing. But I've not actually taken the time out to read it yet. Dead Man, book 1. You know, just sort of a thing I have. Batman Year One, you know, somewhat essential to own if you're a Batman fan. I'm not really a Batman fan. Like, I know a lot about Batman lore, like a lot actually, but I'm not really into the character himself. I think he's cool. I think he's a badass, but I prefer like characters like Robin, and I prefer the villains to the character Bruce Wayne himself. Batman Fugitive Bruce Wayne, book 1. This is a pretty good read. It's nothing phenomenal though. Batman Rebirth, Volume 1, Batman I Am Gotham. This is pretty good also. A lot of people don't like this volume. They say it gets better later on in Tom King's run. I do plan on reading the rest eventually, but yeah, it's a pretty good book, I think. And you don't really have to know anything about Batman to read it, so don't feel like you have to catch up to jump in here or anything. It's the first volume after all. It's Green Lantern No Fear. Really love the art in this one by Ethan Van Sciver. Written by Jeff Johns, obviously, like most of the great Green Lantern stuff. But yeah, that's a good volume. It's technically the start of that series, but there's like sort of a mini series before called Green Lantern Rebirth, which you're probably familiar with. Not the same Rebirth as the Batman Rebirth, a different Rebirth. Green Lantern Blackest Night by Jeff Johns, drawn by Ivan Reyes. Also an excellent artist. This is quite good. I did a review on it a couple of years ago. Let's see. Green Lantern. I really like characters like Green Lantern, so it doesn't take much for me to enjoy a Green Lantern story. Green Lantern New Guardians with my favorite Green Lantern. And these were... I got these both together for, I think, like $15. So I have the first 2 volumes of Green Lantern New Guardians. The Ring Bearer and Beyond Hope. The art's really good in these books also. Alright. So the first 2 volumes of the New 52 Flash here. I plan on getting like the Jeff Johns stuff, and I plan on getting the Wade stuff. But I've yet to actually collect those in paperback or whatever. So I've got Move Forward, the first volume, and I've got Rogue's Revolution. This is the second volume. This is something I got this summer as well. This is Infinite Crisis, drawn by Ivan Reyes. It's actually done by quite a few people. A lot of cooks in this kitchen. I've yet to read this. I know what happens in it, though. I've yet to read, like, this copy, though. Teen Titans, like the classic stuff. Just sort of like a reprint, big bulk format. Teen Titans, A Kid's Game, Volume 1, or Volume 1, A Kid's Game by Jeff Johns. I really like this book. The art's pretty good as well. I recommend this a lot, and I do plan on getting the second volume at some point, but, you know, I read a lot of comics, so I try to afford everything. Supergirl, just a bunch of classic Supergirl stuff. I've not read this yet, actually. Girl comics, just something I picked up for like $2. It's just a bunch of short stories. Punisher and Captain America, Blood and Glory. Ghost Rider, Essentials. Doctor Strange Essentials. I really like classic Doctor Strange stuff like this. My camera is running low on battery, so there might have to be cut soon. But yeah, I really like this Doctor Strange material here. Moon Knight, I really like Moon Knight as well. I'm gonna try to get like the Bendis paperbacks, but they're kind of hard to find. I've got little Luke Cage here. Luke Cage Power Man, there's some good stuff in here, some good material. And Daredevil Essentials, I really enjoy a lot of this stuff that's in here. A good bulk of it is like really solid stuff, and some of it's just funny, because there's a lot of weird melodrama and just absurd plot lines, like the Matt Murdock stuff, or sorry, the his like fake twin brother stuff in this like sort of era of Daredevil. But I do recommend getting these essentials. Next is like one of my all-time favorite Daredevil stories, and I think like everybody's favorite Daredevil story, really. Man Without Fear by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. Obviously essential material for Daredevil fans. Daredevil Parts of a Whole, I quite like that. Daredevil Redemption, not really a fan of the art in some of these. I'm not a fan of Joe Quesada's art and Father, or at all, really. But yeah, I've got Daredevil Father here. I wouldn't really recommend Daredevil Father. I'd recommend Daredevil Redemption, though. It's pretty decent. And Ultimate Daredevil in the Lecture is really good, in my opinion. Alright. Oh yeah, I've also got like a little Doctor Strange here, but you probably noticed that. Also a little baby Groot sort of bobbles around. It's my Homecoming Spider-Man. Moving over. So we've got the Ant-Man Scott Lang collection, which is all this essentially like all this. This came out in 2015, so it's all the stuff you need to know about Scott Lang before seeing the Ant-Man movie. It's quite good. I enjoyed the material in here. I'm actually thinking about reading it again. This I actually have read a few times. This is Second Chance Man by Nick Spencer, who hates the fans but is a good writer nonetheless. Spider-Man the official movie adaptation. This is actually really good. Stanley helped write this, in fact. And this is just sort of like a retelling, almost shot for shot. You almost don't need the movie if you read this. But yeah, the first Spider-Man film from 2002. I really like that graphic novel. Solid stuff. Essential Web of Spider-Man. I haven't read any of the material in here yet, but I do obviously plan to. I got this whole book for $10 in Phil in Nova Scotia. Amazing Spider-Man Great Power. This is very early Stanley and Steve Ditko stuff, like the very first like 20 issues. Solid material. Straczynski, you know, what can I say about him? His writing is absolutely fantastic. There are but 2 blemishes on the JMS run of Amazing Spider-Man. The Sins Past, which is in this book here, and the end of the very end of the series, which he did not have any control over, and that is obviously the famous Brand New Day, or sorry, not Brand New Day, One More Day. I have the first volume of Brand New Day here, which takes place after this run. Craven's First Hunt, sort of like a Daredevil Spider-Man crossover story, very good material. Over here I have the first 5 volumes of the current Dan Slott run on Spider-Man Worldwide. I'm reading through the 5th one now. Like, I got it in the summer, but I'm sort of like falling behind on Spider-Man quite a bit. So I think it's up to volume 7 now. But yeah, the art in these books is really good. The writing varies. I quite like some of it, but the rest of it is just sort of boring. But yeah, volumes 1 through 5, with a little inconsistency here, which really bothers me. I wish they all lined up perfectly. They should. There's a sort of standardized way to cut comics, but whatever. Spider-Man Deadpool Volume 1 is an romantic. I have mixed feelings about this book. Trying to get through it relatively quickly now. Spider-Man Blue. obviously a fantastic book. I read this every Valentine's Day. It's a Valentine's Day story. I don't really hold any value in holidays or anything like that, but I really enjoy reading this every year. Spider-Man Blue. It's like a Gwen Stacy story. Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Volume 1, or I guess Ultimate Comic Spider-Man Volume 1 by Bendis, and drawn by Pichelli. Very good book. Fantastic Four, Secret Invasion. It's just sort of a Fantastic Four story, nothing special there. I do really love the Fantastic Four, though. Fantastic Four, this, like, where they were traveling through space or whatever for a year in the FF, like, the B team was sort of taking over for Earth, these guys here. Let's see, we've got Ultimate Fantastic Four, Volume 1, very, very good, solid material, and Volumes 5 and 6. Now, I got these together for, like, $7. So I do want to, like, fill the gap because I really enjoy this series. But yeah, this is, like, the, Marvel Zombies, like, introduction sort of story. I don't like the Marvel Zombies one bit, but the stories in these books are actually really good. And the Marvel Zombies are tolerable as like a premise for like a throwaway sort of alternate universe, but I don't like this series at all. The Marvel Zombies full series. The Secret Wars Marvel Zombies is quite good as well, but the actual like proper Marvel Zombies books I despise. This is another book I got for $10. I've just sort of started to read through it. This is Jim Starlin's Adam Warlock. So everything he's written about, like, in the Warlock series, it's all here in this book. Let's see, we've got The Infinity Gauntlet, good classic story. Obviously what the new Avengers film is going to be based off. We've got Road to Civil War and Civil War. Now, people have mixed feelings about Civil War, but I really enjoy it. So I would recommend those. We've got New Avengers and Avengers The Initiative, the complete collection. So this is the whole series here. And well, there's a second part to it, but yeah, this is the first half of that series. Ultimates Volume 1 and 2, and Ultimates Cataclysm. I obviously want to fill that gap. There's not a lot of material missing for the Ultimates, but there are a couple of volumes. Classic X-Men, little Wolverine and Magneto figures, little Ultron. Some of it's good, some of it's not. Days of Future Past, I quite like. This is by Claremont, Chris Claremont. Obviously, you know, he could essentially do no wrong for the X-Men. Very good material, very solid stuff. Volumes 1 through 7 of the new X-Men. Now, I am actually missing Volume 5 here, because I left it at school before the break, and I'm now on break, so I won't get that until I go back to school. But, yeah, really, really solid stuff by Grant Morrison. Also, it bleeds together as well. The whole series is essentially like one story. John Carter, The Gods of Mars, Bone Volume 1, nothing really special there. One Punch Man Volume 1 and 2, nothing really special with any of these mangas either, except for I Am a Hero. It's a very interesting book. I would recommend reading it. This is the omnibus, so this collects the first 3 volumes. I've got this Batman, like the War Years stuff. It didn't really fit over there properly, so I just shoved it at the end. It's got, like, yeah, all the Batman stuff from, like, 1939 to 1945, all the essential stuff anyway. And, the Spider-Man Vault by, David Greenberger, or sorry, by, Peter David and, somebody Greenberger. I think Peter Greenberger, actually. But yeah, that's essentially all my graphic novels and stuff. I've gotten requests to do, like my science books and stuff. This is not all of them, but this is what is currently on the shelf. I've got this Obsessed with Marvel book, and I've got this Batman novel here in hardcover. just sort of like out of the way. I haven't read it yet though. This here, like Shoulders of Giants, has like Newton's Principia Mathematica. Obviously, this is an important book. One of the 3 like most essential works of science. Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. The obligatory Brief History of Time. I've read through this a couple of times now. Black Holes, Baby Universes, and Other Essays. Stephen Hawking's biography. All really good stuff. But that's not really what this video is about, so I'm just sort of gonna move on from that. All this sort of stuff is just thrown around because I never stay up. And the new place I plan to have like a system for keeping them all in place. But yeah, those are my DVDs. Not really relevant either. I've got a ton of I've got like 200 loose DVDs, but these are my ones in cases. Oh, and yeah, and Blu-rays and stuff at the end. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, I guess we'll just sort of back up and give like a little. I've got like sort of these little characters hidden around, like Ant-Man there on his ant, a little tiny Ant-Man in the corner here as well. The Wasp, she's been captured by Venom, by Mac Gargan Venom. Maybe I should put her here. I guess it's like a little bit weird to put her in the tongue. That I think about it. And I've got like a little yellow jacket up there. But yeah, that's it really. I'll see you guys later. Bye. That said it better. It's okay. Well, I have had it for many years. Okay, bye.